1800s. Rural families in England, Ireland, Wales, Germany, the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Bohemia, and the United States adhered to a strange tradition. Whenever there was a death in the family, someone had to go out to the beehives and tell the bees of the terrible loss that had befallen the family. Failing to do so often resulted in further calamity, such as the bees leaving the hive, or not producing enough honey, or even dying. Traditionally, the bees were kept informed of not only deaths, but of all important family matters, including births, marriages, and long absences due to journeys. If the bees were not told, all sorts of tragedies were thought to transpire. This peculiar custom is known as telling the bees. Throughout history, humans have always had a special sacred connection with bees and nature. In medieval Europe, bees were highly prized for their honey and wax. Honey was used as food, to make mead, possibly the world's oldest fermented beverage, and as medicine to treat burns, coughs, indigestion, and other ailments. Bees were often kept at monasteries and manor houses where they were tended with the greatest of respect and considered part of the family or community. It was considered rude, for example, to quarrel in front of bees. Celtic mythology holds that bees are the link between our world and the spirit world. If you had a message that you wished to pass on to someone who had died, all you had to do was tell the bees, and they would pass along the message. And the people of the ancient Aegean civilizations of Greece, beginning back in 3200 BC, also believed that bees had the ability to bridge the natural world with the afterlife. Bees play a divine role in the three Abrahamic monotheistic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In Christianity, the bee has historically been viewed as a symbol of Jesus Christ's attributes. Its honey reflecting his sweet and gentle character, and the sting representing justice and the cross. In Judaism, the bee's symbolic role is honored in the celebration of Rosh Hashanah. On the eve of this holiday, it's customary to eat symbolic foods, which may include dipping challah, leavened bread, and an apple into honey. This act embodies the hopes for a happy and healthy new year. And in the Quran, the divine collection of writings believed by Muslims to be the revelation of God, chapter 16, verse 68 is called the bee. Listen to how the bee is described in this passage. Your Lord inspired the bee, saying, build yourselves houses in the mountains and trees and what people construct. Then feed on all kinds of fruit and follow the ways made easy for you by your Lord. From their bellies comes a drink of different colors in which there is healing for people. There truly is a sign in this for those who think. Well, those who think about bees and nature and humankind's relation to and connection with them have been growing in number over the years. In 2015, global spiritual leader and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh called for a global revolution that starts with falling in love with the earth. He wrote, when you realize the earth is so much more than simply your environment, you'll be moved to protect her in the same way as you would yourself. This is the kind of awareness, the kind of awakening that we need, and the future of the planet depends on whether we're able to cultivate this insight or not. A simple branch of cherry blossom, the shell of a snail, or the wing of a bat, all bear witness to the earth's masterful creativity. Every advance in our scientific understanding deepens our admiration and love for this wondrous planet. When we can truly see and understand the earth, love is born in our hearts. We feel connected. That is the meaning of love, to be at one. Also, in 2015, the New Zealand government legally recognized that all animals are sentient beings, and subsequently passed the Animal Welfare Amendment Bill, making it easier to prosecute people in animal cruelty cases, as well as banning animal testing and research. In 2018, the writers at Smithsonian.com authored an article about how Arctic peoples have been communicating with whales for centuries and why the rest of the world should be listening in. Another study showed that the more trees we're surrounded by, the lower our stress levels. And so far this year, a new environmental study suggests that nature may make us happier and healthier because it inspires awe. A National Geographic article explains that flowers can actually hear buzzing bees, and it makes their nectar sweeter. In the South Pacific Ocean nation of Vanuatu, women are literally drawing strength from the rhythm of the ocean. And a man walking in the woods actually captured video of the forest floor breathing, moving up and down. Well, what can we say about these people who have developed a new understanding of and appreciation for nature? I would definitely say that they are Wyrd. W-Y-R-D. Wyrd. Wyrd, spelled this way, is an Anglo-Saxon term for fate or personal destiny. It's the origin of the modern English word weird, W-E-I-R-D, but it is based on the Old Norse Urdur. And Urdur is a female being from Norse mythology who rules the destiny of gods and men and who represents the concept of becoming. So, to be Wyrd is to be an alchemist, to be a person who transforms or creates something through a seemingly magical process, and who is in a perpetual state of becoming. Wyrd literally means that which has turned or that which has become. It carries the idea of turned into, in both the sense of becoming something new and the sense of turning back to an original starting point. In metaphysical terms, Wyrd embodies the concept that everything is turning into something else, while both being drawn in toward and moving out from its own origins. So we can think of Wyrd as a process that continually works the patterns of the past into the patterns of the present. In the Apostle Paul's epistle to the Romans, chapter 1, for what is Paul admonishing us? He writes, "What can be known about God is plain to humans, because God has shown it to them. Ever since the creation of the world, his eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been understood and seen through the things he has made. So humans are without excuse. For though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their senseless minds were darkened. So what is that something new in nature, in God's creation, in the here and now, that we can see or hear or experience or understand that comes from turning back to Paul's original scriptural starting point? What is it in our 21st century exploration of nature that we can discover being drawn in toward and moving out from our biblical understanding of God's creation? What is it that God might want us to see that we are completely missing? Wyrd is an all-encompassing view which connects us to all things, thoughts, emotions, and events in the cosmos, as if through the threads of an enormous, invisible, but dynamic web. Today, scientists know that all things are interconnected, but the power of Wyrd is to realize this in our inner beings and to know how to use it to manifest our personal destinies. Through Wyrd, we can be inspired to see our lives in new and empowering ways. Through Wyrd, we can restore our experiences of the healing power of love, nature, and creativity. Through Wyrd, we can unite ancient wisdom with modern science in the service of enhancing our own lives and the integrity of our human presence on this planet. Who are we listening to about the greatness and the artistry and the interconnectedness of God? We listen to each other, don't we? But who should we be listening to? Job in the Bible tells us to consult the experts. He says, but ask the animals, and they will teach you. The birds of the air, and they will tell you. Ask the plants of the earth, and they will teach you. And the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of every human being. We should be listening to God as God speaks to us softly yet passionately through the simple branch of the cherry blossom, through the shell of a snail, through the wing of a bat, through the whales, through the trees, through the flowers, through the rhythms of the oceans, through the floors of the forest, and of course, through the bees. The cherished relationship between bees and their keepers has provided flowery fodder for folklore. According to one legend, it's bad luck to buy or sell hives, because when you sell one, you sell your luck with the bees. Instead, bees were bartered for or given as gifts. According to another myth, if bees flew into your house, a stranger would soon call. And if they rested on your roof, good luck was on its way. But the relationship between bees and humans goes way beyond superstition. The fact is, bees help humans survive. 70 of the top 100 crop species that feed 90% of the human population rely on bees for pollination. Without them, these plants would cease to exist, and with them, all animals that eat these plants. This would have a cascading effect that would ripple catastrophically up the food chain. Losing a beehive is much worse than losing a supply of honey. The consequences are literally life-threatening. The act of telling the bees emphasizes this deep connections humans share with the insect and all of nature. Talking to bees is just plain weird. W-Y-R-D. To strive to live our lives in new and empowering ways is just plain weird. To reacquaint ourselves with experiences of the healing power of love, nature, and creativity is just plain weird. To be part of a global revolution that starts with falling in love with the earth is just plain weird. But I'm sure the bees will tell you that being weird is the best thing that you can be. Amen.